Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Reality Right After. I am your host Wellington Gomez, and today I am here doing a solo episode because that is what you guys deserve. I haven't done a solo episode in so long, I feel. Of course, you guys know that I've been watching Love Island. And Love Island really is just like I am fascinated by that show. Of course, I've watched Love Island season 6, which was the season that kind of put the entire show on the map. We all fell in love with Serena and Cordell, PPG, etc. But season 7 has proven to be a great season, and I know that there's a lot of mixed reviews out there on how people feel about this current season. But to be completely honest, I love this season. I think that it has given us some great characters. I think that it has given us some great moments. And while I don't agree with the way that the villa is currently looking, I'm not gonna say that I completely hate the show. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm okay. I'm one of those watchers that even though I may not like the situation that I'm in when I'm watching this show or like whatever they're giving me, I can still acknowledge the fact that it's entertaining television because billions of you are watching. So if it was really that bad, you guys wouldn't be watching. Let's keep it 100. So it's not bad because people are still watching. But we are like almost episode like 30, and we don't really have any relationship that we feel like, oh, that's the one. Like, oh, that's like we see this situation with Amaya and Brian brewing, and everybody's like, thank God, something new, something that we can get behind. These might be our winners. Who knows? It's also a lot going on social media. Like, I don't know if you guys are aware of everything that's going on social media when it comes to the show, but a lot of people are getting canceled left and right. A lot of people are old videos are resurfacing, old social media posts are resurfacing, old posts that they've liked, tweets that they've retweeted. The fans are looking for every single little thing that has to do with their lives from before the villa. And I wanted to take the time to kind of speak on that because we all know that social media has changed the landscape when it comes to reality TV and the way that we consume reality TV. I think now it's become a place where social media watchers have a really big opinion on what's happening on these shows that you're watching, and they feel like if we are harassing these companies, these networks, these streamers, these production companies, whatever, etc., to do what they want, what we want them to do, and threaten with we won't watch or threaten with boycotting their show, then they'll do whatever it is that we want them to do. And the reality TV loving me misses when TV networks did not ponder to social media. Because what happened to just shooting a TV show and that's it? Like what happened to those times? Now it's just like every little single thing gets called out seriously. And I don't want to go too deep because I do believe also two things can be true, and I do believe that certain things do need to be called out. Certain behavior does need to be reprimanded, and people that say certain things shouldn't be on a national platform. So two things can be true at the same time, and that's how I feel. Because when they sent Jalissa home, I was she needed to go home. Um, but now it's so much going on and we're so far into the game. I think it was okay to send Jalissa home because it was day one, day two. I think Jalissa should have never even been brought into the villa because everything that came out about her was brought out when they first announced the cast. So they had some time to really not even bring Jalissa into this villa. However, they kicked her out episode 2. We didn't fall in love with her. We didn't even know her. So it didn't really feel any type of way. Where the season is about to end next week. Why are we kicking anybody out at this point? Let them deal with whatever it is that they did. Let them deal with it when they're out of the villa. Let them answer for that. These are, at the end of the day, these are adults. Love Island is not responsible for the things that these people done, said, and did when they were, I don't know, whenever. Love Island production is not the ones responsible for that. And to be completely honest, we live in a world like something that I've realized is that not a lot of people think like me. Not a lot of people think the way we do. Not a lot of people, I know that, our listeners, our people, us, we are one, but not a lot of people think like us. That's clear by the election. That's clear by how our government is, the state of our government right now. Not everybody thinks that way. So clearly, it's no escaping it, to be completely honest. I don't see how a casting company is going to start, like, I mean, they could start, like, in a way, flagging anybody, like, but they will have to pay a whole other team to be running through people's social media, you know? And from a business standpoint, I don't see them doing that. I'm just being real. I don't see them caring enough to having like background checks, yes. Stuff like that, yes. A light little run through your social media, yes. But going back years and years and years and years and years to see what you done posted from high school, sometimes middle school, they're not doing that. They're not doing that. So I don't I feel like this is a problem that we're gonna keep seeing in the reality TV space, especially when it comes to competition programs, because I don't see casting companies going that extra mile to try to run through everybody's social media for the last 20 years. Um, However, back to the Love Island situation, Sierra is being called out for racial comments that she made. For a racial slur, let me be very correct. Sierra's being called out for a racial slur that is used against the Asian community. She used that slur in one of her stories talking about herself, and someone happened to call her out on it. Not called her out, but slid into her DMs and said, "Listen, like that's not really like a nice word to use." And I even believe that they meant that they called out the fact that it was a racial slur, and her response was, "Oh no, thank God I didn't mean it in that way." Um, I don't know what she means by that. Sierra doesn't know that she's currently being boycotted on social media to be dumped from the villa. That's another thing. These people don't even know what's happening. So that's one. Then Hutta, I don't know if you guys are seeing on social media today. Today is Sunday when I'm recording this, and I'm probably gonna put it out today because I'm not doing anything today, so this can probably go right up. But Hutta is being called out for using the N word. She posted a video on TikTok where she is singing behind another song, rapping, and it's kind of just like a video where music is playing and she's kind of like rapping to the lyrics. Um, but you can see her verbally. She doesn't say it, but you can see her verbalizing those words as she's like going through the lyrics of the song. So she says every word of that part of the song. Some people are saying, well, she was just rapping a song lyric. Some people were saying that it's really not that serious. Some other people were saying that if Jalissa had to go home for saying the N word, then Hutta has to go home for saying the N word. And I wanted to know, castmates, how do you guys feel? I would like to know how my people feel about this situation. How do we feel? Let me know in the comments. If you are watching on YouTube, let me know in the YouTube comments. If you are seeing this clip on any social media channel, let me know in the comments. If you are hearing us on any podcast platforms, leave a comment, leave a review, and let me know. Because I really would like to know. And I'm conflicted about the entire situation because it's just so crazy that we're here 10 episodes before the finale and all of these things are happening. I do not condone the use of any racial slurs whatsoever. Um, and I am very eager to see how production is going to handle this. If I was a producer on this show, if I was part of the production team, if I was in charge, I will put on my show, I will finish my show, and I will let these individuals answer for their use of those slurs. Because these are grown ass people, and if they wanted to go around using those words, they can also explain why they went around using those words. That's what I would do. Um, just because the type of competition that Love Island is, it's such a bubble. They don't know about each other in the real world. They don't know what each other. They don't know that much about each other. They talk to each other about like, oh, what do you do? Oh, I'm a nurse. I'm a this. Like, yeah, but no one is really talking about like their upbringing. No one is really talking about, yeah, my parents are Trump supporters. No one is really talking about, oh, I voted for Kamala Harris. Who do you vote for? Oh, no one is talking about that. No one is talking about the real shit. The black people are not going around asking the non-black people if they say the N-word. The black people are not, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not saying that those things happen in the real world, but we wouldn't let anybody that's not black say that word in the real world. So I understand why fans feel like that also has to mirror the villa. But I also, two things can be true. I also see how production can feel like, well, this is a world within a world, and we're gonna finish this world, and then when this world is done, then they can go back to your world and answer to your, you know, answer to the to what people are saying, child. Cause what? I also wanted to go down one by one. I wanted to talk about the couples. So first and foremost, I really wanted to talk about how bad I felt about TJ and Aris. Um, I didn't realize how much they liked each other, but in the last couple of episodes, I went back and I realized, wow, like they really did form something cute, and they both were both saying how they missed each other when they were in Casa Amor. So it's not like it's fake, They were both very much like in the sense of missing each other and not really being able to connect with the new people that were brought in because of how much they were missing each other. So when they were up for elimination, I really thought that TJ was going to be a strong contender that people were going to stand behind because of his new connection to Iris. But I guess that his relationship with the boys and Iris' relationships with the girls was not strong enough where people felt conveyed enough on their relationship. Um, I am okay with Andreina going home because I do feel like Andreina got to the point where I don't know where she was going into the villa. The spark with Brian kind of faded away because they realized that it was just a physical connection rather than an actual connection between them. And she really liked Pepe, but Pepe friend zoned her because no shade, Pepe don't like girls like Andreina. Pepe got with Hannah, and after Hannah, Pepper. Pepe got with Grayson. And after Grayson, he was fancying Iris. Like Olandra said, Pepe got a type. And that type is not Andreina. So I want Andreina. One, I would love to interview Andreina because I want to know her experience as a Black Dominican woman on Love Island. But also, I want Andreina to. I feel like this was a great way for her to see how she dates herself. And I would love for her to go back and watch the way she was communicating with these men and also go back and see how men respond to her because she has such a voluminous body. And I think that that's the first thing that gets mentioned or that you pick up from her at first. And I think that one of the reasons why Andreina was unsuccessful of making a deep connection on this show is because what's what's left after the body, you know, there was no meaningful deep conversations really happening. So maybe focusing on capturing someone with your mind rather than with your body should be the focus moving forward. Because I do feel like a lot of the men that talked to her kind of had the same note that was the, you know, she's gorgeous, but it's just a physical attraction. Like the conversation is boring. And I wonder if that's just, if that's how she thinks. Like, you know, I'm a beautiful girl. I don't really have to do too much. It's on the men to do what they need to do. And while I think that that's great when it comes to getting laid and getting your bottles paid for, I don't think that when it comes to finding a man, you could do that. So I wasn't mad that she went home because I thought that it was expected. But I do hope that she finds somebody that really like captivates her mind. Somebody that like she's able to talk to about everything. Someone that's going to talk her ear rather than playing in her booty. You know, because we get it. She has a great body, but I feel like Andreina needs someone that's an intellect that gets her, and someone that she's able to have really, really, really amazing conversation with. Grayson, I wasn't mad that she got home. Um, Jaden, I wasn't mad that Jaden went home, but I was kind of like, I was kind of like eager to see if that relationship with Brian was gonna go anywhere, because the only reason why I really didn't enjoy Jaden is because she picked Austin, and Austin is trash. So that was really the only reason why I really wasn't giving Jaden any attention. But after Brian kind of like told her like, listen, like I'm interested in you, it kind of she kind of seemed like she was willing to like entertain it. So I was interested to see where that was gonna go between them two. But she wasn't saved. Thank God Austin went home. We've been waiting for that for the longest. It took too long for Austin to go home, if you ask me. Um, and what else? So Taylor and Clarke, Taylor and Clarke. A lot of people were saying, "Oh my God, I don't understand why Clarke, like America did Clarke dirty when he came to the voting." What do you guys expect? What do you guys expect? We were riding for Taylor and Olandria. We were riding for Taylor and Olandria. And when Taylor did what he did and did it the way he did it, and then treated Olandria the way she was treated, like we lost all respect for Taylor. Taylor's not seeing those $100,000 on my name. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. He's not seeing that money. Because yes, you are in that competition for yourself, and everybody's there for themselves, and everybody's responsible for the connection that they want to make, because you know no one is going to find that connection for you. You were still telling Olandria, selling her a dream that you knew you didn't even want to keep up with. The moment everybody got back in the villa and you recoupled with Clarke, you really had no type of intention of still pursuing Olandria, but yet you were trying to sell her a dream because you didn't want to just completely shut her out. And I think that sometimes we need to be clear. You knew that you wanted Clarke and only to really spend time with Clarke. Because while you were telling Olandria that you were going to go back and forth, when did you actually go back and forth? When did you, and then when you were with Olandria, it's not like you were really nurturing that connection. You were talking to her about your connection with Clarke and how it's gotten so deep. In a way, kind of making her feel that, putting these little bones in her ear so that she can start feeling like, oh, he's starting to have a stronger connection with her. She's starting, and so that she doesn't feel crazy for when you completely pull the rug from under her. But in reality, you did complete pull the rug from under her. You got captivated by lighter skin and straight hair. Clock it. And everything that you had with Olandria went out the window. We saw all of those boundaries that you put around Olandria. I'm more of a mind person first and physical later. But in reality, you just didn't like that girl. You just didn't like that girl. Because look how you were with Clarke 3 days in her body. Care to explain? Care to explain? Olandria was this whole, we need to have conversation, we need to get to know each other. I'm not that guy. I need to captivate you with my mind first and then with my body. And we were letting it rock because no shade, like it's not like he got a body, so we get it. um, but then Clarke comes in, gives you the attention that you want, looks the way that you want her to look, and she immediately gets your body. But Olandria had to talk your ear for 20 episodes. Seriously? And you want me to believe that you were ever into Olandria? When you also admitted that you weren't physically attracted to her? See, Taylor was learning how to like Olandria. Taylor was learning how to be in a relationship with Olandria until Clarke came into the picture. When Clarke came into the picture, Taylor was physically attracted to Clarke. Also, let me remind you, in Casa Amor, Clarke and Coco both wanted Taylor at first. And Coco, darker skin. Clarke, light skin. Taylor picked Clarke. I'm not the girl that walks around clocking people's skin tones like this. But the only reason why I'm clocking this is because he never liked Olandria. And the things that Ace claimed Jeremiah was doing, he need to look to the right to his boy and see that his boy was doing the same thing. Taylor was doing the same thing that Ace claimed Jeremiah was doing. Actually, Taylor got away with it. He locked in with Olandria because no one else in that villa cared to be with that little boy. So he locked with Olandria because Olandria just wanted a cowboy at whatever cost. Olandria just wanted a cowboy. Didn't explore anybody else whatsoever, but yet didn't get called out for it the way that Jeremiah was called out for it. Taylor felt The only way that I'm not leaving this villa is if I lock in with Orlandria, put all of these boundaries around her. All of the bombshells that came in really didn't fuck with him, so he kept it about Orlandria. But the moment he went to Casa and had two girls on him, he chose to go with someone that doesn't look like Orlandria. And then acts completely different with her. There's no boundaries with her. There's no captivating the mind first. Which is why I feel the way I feel. Taylor is trash. And he thinks that just because he's soft spoken and very low tone that he's a good guy. But no, you're trash. You're conniving. And also, you're catty. Because we've seen the way you be gossiping with Ace. We've seen the way you be throwing bones and giggling and like, I cannot deal with those type of men, honestly. Like, I really cannot deal. Especially straight men. Because straight men get so offended and like to talk so much shit about gay men being gossipy, about gay men being in women's business, about gay men being extra and always. But look at Ace and look at Taylor, two butch queens. So yeah, so Taylor, you're not seeing those $100,000, and you lucky that your Islander saved you because we were trying to get you out. I don't know if you clocked that, but America wants you out of the villa. Um, Shelly and Ace, Shelly and Ace. I think you guys lock in. Lock in for the rest of the show. Shelly, there's no one else there in that villa for you. Ace, there's no one else in that villa for you. No shade. And just lock in. Lock into the rest of the show. See where you end up. Hopefully you make it to the top 3. We know you guys are not gonna date in the real world. We know it. Ace is 22. Ace is 22. Shelly is 27. I'm 27. I'm not dating a 22-year-old. If you are over 25, you understand. I am almost in my 30s. I am not dating someone that is 2 years into their 20s. Even if they look like Ace, even if they are as successful as Ace. I don't care. I'm not dating someone with that mental capability. It's not happening. And I don't think that Shelly would either in the real world, which is why the relationship with Ace has always been an afterthought, a second thought. Because she always says, like, thinking about the outside world. Yeah, you're not thinking about the outside world because you met Ace already in the outside world and deemed him childish. I know that's what happened. She met Ace, thought he was handsome because he is a handsome dude. But then got to talking to him, got to seeing him, got to know what age he was, and probably was turned off. Shelly's a whole woman. I don't blame her. However, your out of this Ace situation was Chris, and you let Hada take him. So just lock in with Ace and finish the show. That's my advice to Shelly. Ace, you need to seek help. You need to go to therapy. I can tell that your height is a trigger in ways that you don't even know it is. So you need to seek help, my boy. You really do. And watch this season back by yourself. Watch the season back by yourself and see if you were proud of those moments. See how you can learn from those moments and change. Because you're only 22. So technically, you're a baby. Also, someone that's 40 might think that I'm a baby. And comparing, yes, maybe I am a baby to someone that's 40. I don't know 40 years of experience. I do know 27, and I do know that 22 is not it. So, yeah. Who else? Alandria. I don't know if there's anybody here for Alandria, but Alandria, you should have went for Nick. You knew you liked Nick at the beginning, and you should have went for it. That's all I gotta say when it comes to that, because I don't know. Also, Alandria, I am kind of disappointed that you kissed Nick outside of the challenge. I'm not gonna lie, I am disappointed in that because you more than anybody knows that that's not okay. And I don't care the way that you and Nick are wrapping this around, trying to make it sound like it wasn't as deep as it was, but we saw that. And you guys are all going to be able to watch it when you leave the villa, but we saw that. We saw the tension there. There was a lot of romantic tension between you and Nick to the point that you guys got together in soul ties and started kissing. Mind you, the challenge that you just did was all about kissing. It was all about making out. So that wasn't enough to see if there was a connection between you and Nick. Y'all needed to go and do it outside of the challenge? Yeah, no. Let's just be real and say that there was a physical connection there and that you guys wanted to explore it. And then let's just be real that you guys then realized that you guys couldn't do that because Nick had a really strong connection with Sierra, which was one of Alandria's best friends in the villa. Let's be real. Nick, I have a love and hate relationship with Nick because I do find Nick to be a really good character. Like I find him to be a really good character. However, Nick, you're messy as hell. I feel my ways about Ace, but Nick, you are one of the messiest reality stars to ever exist. Literally. Literally. Nick sits down with Hutta, tells her that he loves her, that he understands her, consoles her, and then in the stand on business challenge, dogs her out. Like you really couldn't make it up. You legitimately cannot make it up. Nick is messy. And Nick likes Olandria. Nick really likes Olandria. I think Nick thinks Olandria is prettier than Sierra. And ever since Nick and Olandria got back in the villa, they've been low-key flirting with each other. I don't know if you guys been clocking it, but if you've been clocking it, you've been clocking it, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. If you watch the challenges and you watch closely and while people are doing the challenges, look at the people in the back. Look at what they're doing. And you're gonna see Nick getting closer to Sierra, to Alandria, Nick playing around with Alandria very subtly. Very subtly. And then you see others clocking it, like Ace and Chris and people just making faces while they're doing stuff. They like each other. And Sierra doesn't like it. And I thought at first that Sierra's a cool girl. She's gonna understand. She's not really gonna be mad. And she really sold it to us, you know? When Nick and Olandria talked to her, she didn't really seem mad. She was like, I understand, yeah. There was that little look in her face that I clocked that I was like, she pissed. But she didn't express that. She kept it cool. She said she understood. And even when Iris brought it up to her, she still was like, you think so? I mean, she did end up telling Nick later on that it kind of did make her feel a little bit uncomfortable. But Sierra didn't like that shit. Sierra was actually mad. And you know how I know that Sierra was mad? Because when it was time to send Taylor home and be a best friend to Olandria, knowing everything that that Taylor put Olandria through, knowing the embarrassment that Taylor put Olandria through, she went and stood behind Taylor. Because she didn't want to see Nick lose his best friend in the villa. That's not a friend. That is not a friend. I don't want friends like that, actually. No, thank you. So I just hope that Olandria wakes up about her friendships on this damn show. Because that is not a friend. And then she's like, oh, I hope that you're not mad about my vote. Girl, that was your best friend. But you know why Sierra did it? Because Olandria kissed her man. And she was never okay with it. So now I'm going to get back at you. And instead of liberating my best friend from this guy that did her dirty, I'm going to stand behind them and I'm going to be the saving vote that keeps him in this villa. And then I'm going to lie and say that I did it because of my man, because they're close. But in reality, Nick would have been fine. And if anything, I feel like Sierra would want Nick to not have Taylor around so that Nick can properly focus on her. So this lie that she did it for Nick, I'm not buying it. You did it because you're mad that Olandria kissed Nick. You're actually upset about it. Deeply. And there's no way that you were going to get back at her by doing anything else. That was going to be too direct. And then the fans were going to call you out. And people were going to see that you're fake. So instead, you waited for the perfect moment to cross Olandria. And when was that moment? When it was time to send Taylor home. And instead of sending Taylor home, you stood behind him to save him. And also, let's go back to that moment. Sierra had the choice of standing behind Andreina and making it a tie and then rocking with what production would do at that point, or stand behind Taylor, breaking the tie and sending everybody else home automatically. If you really don't want to ruffle your best friend's feathers and you really don't want to ruffle your man of not losing his friend, I would try to be neutral. And the best way to be neutral is by making it a tie. Well, Nick, I stood behind Andreina so that it could be a tie, and so like that the decision is not on me. If Taylor goes home, Taylor goes home. But instead of doing that, she went ahead and stood behind Taylor because she wanted to make sure that Taylor stood in that villa to keep terrorizing Olandria. And y'all can feel whatever way y'all want to feel about it, but that's just the way I feel. That's just the way I feel. And I hope I'm wrong, but I would love to see Olandria check Sierra about this. She talked about it with someone else. I forgot who she was talking about it with, but she talked about it with someone else. So all of this talking behind people's backs, I'm tired of it. Just address each other. How about that? So I would love to see that. I also would love to see movie night. I just really hope that you guys don't end this season and don't give us movie night. Because what would be the fucking point? We haven't had a Twitter or read tweets challenge, and we haven't had a movie night challenge. A movie night episode. Can we please get to that? Because these Islanders need to know what they've been saying about each other. These Islanders need to know what has been happening that they haven't seen. And I feel like these Islanders need to know more about how America feels. So please, it's Sunday. The season ends next Sunday. The finale is next Sunday. That was confirmed by Ariana. The finale is next Sunday. And there still hasn't been a movie night or anything like that. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 episodes left. Without counting After Sun. 5 episodes left. And no movie night. Movie night needs to be tomorrow, Monday night. If it's happening. Unless they really not doing it this season. I will be gagged if production doesn't do it this season. I would be gagged. Okay, guys, so we've reached that point in the show where I search the name of the show on Twitter and I read some of your tweets about what you guys are talking about in this show. So, at Fatima says, Olandria does need to finally cut ties with Taylor. However, I would not let y'all paint her as the angry, scary black woman. She has a right to be angry for being played for 3 to 4 weeks straight. And I agree. Y'all are not going to paint Olandria as the angry black woman just because she finally spoke up about how she feels about Taylor. When in reality, she has been speaking up to him. If you, before Casa Amor, Olandria was very explicit with Taylor. What do you need from me? What do we need to take this to the next level? If you want to touch me, you can touch me. I'm okay with it. She's done the talk. She's walked the walk. But Taylor was not running with her. Moving on to the next tweet, at Love Said Not So. The whole America was voting for Jeremiah to couple up with Iris so he gets away from Huda. Why are you fixed on blaming Ace for what you did? Are you people mentally ill? The whole of America was voting for Jeremiah to couple up with Iris so he gets away from Huda. Why are you fixed on blaming Ace for what you did? Oh, okay. I guess that they're saying that they feel like America did that and not necessarily Ace. So why are you guys blaming Ace for that? But let's be completely honest. Ace was on an anti-Jeremiah campaign in that villa. And the reason why he was on an anti-Jeremiah campaign in that villa was because Jeremiah completely took the 2 girls that he was interested in from the beginning. And that was Shelly and that was Andreina. No shade. I mean, Huda and Andreina. No shade. Ace wanted parts with Huda. And still salty that he never got those parts with Huda. Because Jeremiah locked Huda down. Andreina walks into the villa and Ace is excited to get to know her. But who does Andreina connects with from the get and focuses on? Jeremiah. And that sent Ace's ego to the roof. To the point that then he started to collect bones and throw them around the villa, making sure that people felt the way he felt about Jeremiah and Andreina. And then when he got to that point, look what happened. Jeremiah goes home. We know that Ace is catty, and we know that Ace is a bush queen that be throwing around bones and carrying bones from left to right and making sure, and messy, just plain messy in that villa. We know that. Because Jeremiah also confirmed in a podcast that the only reason why he didn't really go for Amaya was because Ace was talking so much shit about her, and he just, like, you know, everybody was listening to what Ace was saying, and that kind of turned him off about Amaya. So Ace is that type. He doesn't like you, he's gonna make sure that everybody else doesn't like you. Let's see. At 202 Natalie says Taylor thinks he getting punished for finding a new connection, but we really just don't like him for playing Olandria to stay in the villa to find his real type. He needs to be so fucking for real. Exactly. Girl, we're not punishing you for finding a new connection. We could care less that you find a new connection. What we don't like is that you played Olandria. You made her feel that there was something there when there really wasn't, when you never liked that girl. And then when someone that was really your type walked in, you bounced and did it so selfishly and was not respectful to Olandria. That's why we don't like you, and that's why we voted the way we voted. I hope that's clear to you, Taylor, and your 6 dehydrated locks. At MVG Edic Manin says black women are always held on a much higher standard, and I'm tired of it. If they're quiet, they're boring. If they speak up, they're aggressive. God forbid they look at someone sideways, then they're labeled as mean girls. And that's true. I do believe that the darker skinned girls on any TV show that's a reality program are held to a different standard than lighter skinned black women and non black women. I do agree with that, and I do believe that. And I think that now a lot of darker skinned black women that are going on reality TV are very cognizant of that. So I'm not saying that they put up an act, but they're very intentional with the way they act. It's somewhat like it's become kind of like a code switch to a point where it's like I don't want to be stereotyped in any way possible, so I'm gonna make sure that my actions do not play into any of those stereotypes. But also, in a way, I feel like that's so fucked up because you guys are making black women act differently, so that you guys are not affected by them, and then you guys don't call them out. It's really fucked. It's really fucked. Black women deserve to be themselves on camera, and not be held to a different standard just because you find them aggressive and because you find them the way you find them. You need to seek help and realize why that's bothering you and why you let it slide when it comes to someone else, but when it comes to a darker skinned black woman is an issue. At Sally. At Scorpio's Groove says, Zach, why are you being so suspiciously nice to Amaya all of a sudden? Because now you want to gain America's vote and become a favorite? Because it ain't gonna happen. Not on my watch. Period. Zach, you and your veneers can go. I actually gave your veneers their luggage and you have your luggage ready to go because those veneers are so big they need their own luggage. You and your veneers could go. I'm gonna say it again. You and your veneers could go. Corey's verse says, pretending race is irrelevant in this Chelly and Olandria hate train is interesting to me because it's extremely likely that the only thing that makes the masses drop all of that Hutta hate is to redirect it onto a black woman. And I agree. People are losing followers for being problematic, and Hutta is gaining followers for that. It doesn't make sense. Maybe this season, this is at M Heiza M. I don't. Chow. How am I supposed to say these damn Twitter names? Like I'm about to just call out the letters at this point because the Chow at MHYSA Bree. Maybe this season was about the tweets we tweeted and communities built along the way. That's funny. Someone says at CZBA4, my final three are Brian and Amaya, Ace and Shelly, and Nick and Olandria. I love that. I'm actually not mad at that. At Call Me Dell says, Chris is saying Andreina is genuine because she waited so long to say she wrote the card. No. Oh, sorry. Chris is saying that Andreina is ingenuine because she waited so long to say she wrote the card knowing that Hutta never came forward about the card she wrote. Clock it. Clock it. You see how the standards are different for black women across the diaspora? Andreina is disingenuous, while Hutta, she's just keeping it to herself. At Wes Zalens says, Olandria, see how Sierra saved Taylor? That is not your friend. So when the time comes, Let me reread that. Alandria, see how Sierra saved Taylor? That is not your friend. And when the time comes, still her man. I don't care. Period. I agree. Fuck it. This is not Best Friends Island. This is Love Island. Get your man. You know he like you better than her. That's just too big of a name for me to even try. Says Ace realizing that America loves Amaya. He was mad. Did you see that face? He was pissed. But yeah, we love her and we hate you. And I'm glad. Ooh. Excuse me. I have manners. I am so sorry. I'm drinking this coffee chat out. And clearly it got me bubbling. I'm glad that they did that challenge because Ace needed to be humbled. Ace needed to be humbled. And I've been waiting for the day. So I'm glad that they did that challenge so that Ace knew that America doesn't fuck with him. It was necessary. I'm glad that Shelly was collateral, but it was necessary for Ace, for a humbling that Ace has been needing. I'm glad. You could tell he was pissed because even when Shelly asked him, he's like, I know who I am. Da-da-da-da. Shut up, boy. You don't know who you are. You're 22 years old. You don't know who you are. That's why you're acting like a childish high schooler in the villa. Because you have no type of adulthood experiences to the point where you will act like a normal person, like an emotionally intelligent person. Ace likes to come off that way because he knows that that's like, it's good to come off that way, but he's not really that way because we can tell by his actual actions that he's a child. Okay, I'm done reading tweets and I'm done with my review of Love Island. I would love to know how you guys feel about this show, so let me know in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up. If you're on YouTube, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps us. And if you are listening on any of the podcast platforms, please, please, please leave us a 5-star review if you love listening to me talk about reality TV, because that is going to help our podcast get spread to other people and our family grow and grow and grow. And when our family keeps growing, the podcast keeps getting better. So please, please, please leave us a 5-star review if you're listening to us. Castmates, thank you so much. I love you. Have an amazing week. It is Sunday right now. I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing week. I hope that you guys get everything done that you set out to get done this week. I pray that God walks you in your purpose and that you have a fabulous, amazing, rewarding, peaceful week. Love you guys. See you next week. Or just see you next episode because I feel like I'm going to be back here very, very soon.